What is up, my friends? It's Chris here, and I'm joined with two of my great friends as well. Ioana?
Hey folks, welcome aboard Human in the Loop again. It does feel like we have a selfish interest, Chris, here, and we have had a lot of podcasts with our friends and loved ones. I'm loving it. Talking about friends of both of us. Dux, hello.
Hello, hello. Well, thank you. I think this is a good way for us to get together and have a wonderful, stimulating conversation.
For people who could be missing out, Dux, tell us a little bit about yourself and who you are.
Yeah. So, hey, everybody. My name is Dux Raymond Sy. I serve as the Chief Brand Officer at AvePoint and also the Country Manager of AvePoint Philippines. My job, easy. I help leaders turn AI momentum into real world impact without compromising trust. So that's what I do.
That is awesome. That is literally the best intro / one-liner ever. Turning AI momentum into real world.
People ask me today, what do you actually do? I go, I realize like I help companies, they pilot AI and they get stuck, right? So there's that momentum and then they get stuck. And then I help with colleagues and experts like you get them unstuck. But that's not a sexy thing to say. So I'm like, okay, let's see. AI momentum, making it real world impact without compromising trust, which
I love it. Oh, I love it. That is gold without compromising trust. Yes. Okay.
I want to change my LinkedIn now headline. Maybe I should put
Yes, you do. You do. That is the most Dux thing I've ever heard in my life. That's going to stick.
But there was a tiny line there. You said you have the easiest job. I don't think that's the easiest job.
No. Well, I have fun. Yeah, maybe easy is not the right word. It's not easy, but I enjoy doing it, and that's why, like, you know how when sometimes you get in the zone, like, oh, it's been 8 hours. Wow, I didn't think it was 8 hours. So that's what I feel like even being in this industry for 25 years. There's so much energy and momentum. Like before our call, I was just looking into building an open claw box,
That's
and
cool.
I'm like, what? Do I have time? Like, anyway.
Give it 2 minutes.
Yeah. Listen, man, you can multitask. No one will mind.
And by the way, I've admired your organization AvePoint for a while now. Even before, the AI was the topic du jour, you folks always have had trust at the center of everything you do, security at the center of everything you do. And for you, it was part of your DNA before it became a buzzword. Can you tell us a little bit about AvePoint? Because I know you're doing some fantastic work and I want our audience to know about it as well.
Well, thank you for your kind words. So essentially what we do is we help organizations around the world protect, govern, and keep their data resilient so they can collaborate with confidence, to put it easily. And like you said, we've been in this business for 25 years. These days, our focus is to make sure organizations' data is trusted, especially in this new world of AI. And when I talk to customers, like they're like, "How did you guys come up with this? So timely." I go, "We've been doing it for 25 years." It so happens today it's needed because without a trusted data foundation, AI is useless.
And I think like with AvePoint, something interesting has happened where you guys have been preparing for 25 years for this moment, right? I feel like that's what's happened. Like you guys have done so well at like serving the public, doing a great job around data governance and compliance and making sure we've all been kept safe and our information's been kept safe. But now it's like the reckoning, right? And you're coming up more and more in conversations that I have because people are like, "Oh, this company AvePoint do this," and I'm like, "Yeah, but they've been doing that for a long time. They've been preparing for this moment," and I feel like that's something really key about what you guys do is that now you're needed more than ever.
Again, thank you for those words, Chris. It's fascinating, right? Because not only have we been doing for a long time, we learned so much from customers around the world, different shapes and sizes. And what we realize, especially today, right? In the past, people think about data challenges as all separate. So let me give you an example. So one example, we all know, we like it or not, everybody hoards data. So
Yeah.
there's fragmented data, legacy data, stuff in the cloud for more than 20 years now. So that's one issue. And people have been really trying to figure out, okay, how do we archive it? How do we get rid of junk, right? So people look at that as one problem. The second problem people have is this sprawl. where's my stuff again? Is it in email, in chat, in SharePoint, in WhatsApp, in Gmail, in file share? That's a different issue in the past people look at, like this digital sprawl. And then there's a third issue, especially today's overexposure. Because what? People are malicious, but I share stuff left and right. I'm going to share this Word document with Chris. Chris will share it with Joanna. And suddenly everybody has permissions. Right? And then the last issue is data loss and interruption. Ransomware, the cloud goes down, and I need my data. So historically, it's been looked at 4 different data issues handled by different departments, different tools. But guess what? Now with AI, it's all interrelated, right? If you have poor data quality, you ask Copilot, hey, what's a policy on expense reimbursement? Oh, it's $5 per meal. Well, it looked at a 20-year-old HR policy document.
Yeah.
Or what's Joanna's bonus? Suddenly, it pulled document from HR site that you're not supposed to see, right? And what if it goes out? So the way we think about it is these are all interconnected. Hence, our solution is a platform solution. We call it the confidence platform, where we take a unified approach to data security, data governance, and resilience. Doesn't matter where people work, be it in Microsoft 365, Google, Salesforce, AWS, because the reality is, as much as the three of us love Microsoft, customers are multi-cloud, multi-agent, right? And now in the world of new agents, then we're going to get into this. What about agentic governance? That's a whole different ball.
Yeah. Without getting overly nerdy, one of the things I'll be doing now is like been looking at, at the moment, people are delivering these like what I call utility-based agents, right? So it's like singular agents on top of data that do some stuff. So it's like, hey, I have an agent, I have to query data, it's going to give me an output, and then maybe do some actions. But what we're starting to see is this creation of what we call an agent mesh or a multi-agent system. And Dux, you've hit the nail on the head. These multi-agent systems are very difficult to govern because we don't know. We've never been here. We've never been in this. We've never done it before. And a multi-agent system, when you impact one agent, you don't know the implication on other agents. And like if your data is bad,
Well, the scary part too is, oftentimes, again, we're at least a lot of the customers are in the early stages.
Yeah.
The exposure to AI is really Gen AI. You ask something, it answers. You ask something, it answers. That's cool. But what's coming is these things, especially agent, can act on it. It will make decisions. It will tell other agents, like you talked about multi-agents. So what happens if the agent pulls bad data and it's going to act on it that leads to bad action at scale?
Yep, it
Wrong
does. It's
decisions.
agents behaving badly. Mm-hmm.
Yes, agents gone wild, right?
Yeah, that's
And we've been kind of hitting on a few points that I was like, I have questions. And we talked about data and the importance of it with AI, with agentic AI, especially. It's not just, hey, you get an answer. You can kind of apply your own logic and see is it factual or not. But the moment that the agent actually takes action on your behalf, forget about human in the loop. The action has been taken. So what is the consequence there if the data is bad? And I was smiling because, yes, we all hoard the data. And that data, I'm guilty of this. I realized on my desktop, I had folders from like 15 years ago of my job. I'm like, what am I doing there? I know better. So I was like, okay, you wanna de-hoard your desktop. But we're all guilty of it. So as you're thinking of this, Dux, and of how you folks are managing it holistically, what does high quality data actually mean when we're talking of enterprises or organizations in 2026 and especially agentic AI?
So maybe let me first talk about what it doesn't mean. So high quality data doesn't mean it has to be perfect data, right? To me, high quality data means it's something you can trust enough to automate decisions around it. So practically, it's current, it's not stale, it's relevant, it's understood, meaning it has context and metadata. It's not overexposed; only the right people has the right access, and it's managed across the full life cycle. Retain what you must and dispose what you should, right? So, I struggle the same thing. And if think about organizations, right? Like I walk into large enterprise organizations, they have petabytes of data. They're like, as much as we want to have good data hygiene, there's just no way. There's no way we can scour through all these things. So the beauty of how we help them is our capability, our technology not only identifies it based on rules. So, for example, so you can say, hey, our retention policy, because we're a highly regulated organization, is only 5 years. So that's one. Or maybe we're financially regulated. We have to subscribe Sarbanes-Oxley compliance. Financially related data has to be only around for 7 years. So based on these rules, our technology can go in there and you point in, okay, SharePoint site, file share, AWS store, and identify what, any of these data that are out of compliance or out of these business rules. And then now the decision point is, okay, do we get rid of it? Or maybe we just move it elsewhere, right? And for archival purposes, where it's not going to mess up today, AI. So that's one. The second thing is having a good hygiene also saves you money from storage costs. That's what a lot of people don't think about too, is like, hyperscalers would love you to keep using AI because storage grows, more money.
Please.
But having that rigor and discipline of ensuring data's good quality, it's good hygiene. It's not only healthy for AI, but it's really saving you costs because you can put it in cold storage, for example.
Mm-hmm.
The last part about high quality data is really about confidence, which ties into trust, right? Because it's confidence in what AI sees and confidence what AI does.
I feel like AI often is a loud hailer for terrible data, right? Like and it can be. And gosh, I've seen a number of organizations, they'll roll out tools like M365 Copilot, which is extremely powerful, and then unearth all these hidden gems. What was in the tax 2002 folder is now like bubbled up to the surface. So security by obscurity doesn't work anymore.
Mm.
And I feel like I like the fact that you spoke about like having confidence in data. I can categorically tell you, I don't think any organization I've worked with has got high confidence in their data.
No.
I think that
Yeah.
it's scary, right? Like it's scary to think that if data is a digital representation of you, your company, and your customers, and you don't have high confidence in your data, that means that you don't have high confidence in the interactions you're having with your staff and your customers.
That's right.
And without being mean, that terrifies me.
And that's where everybody gets stuck, right? So we're in a place now, you hear in the news every single day, oh, AI for everything. What's your mom's name? AI, right?
Yeah.
But companies, especially large organizations, governments, they pilot it, but they get stuck now. Not because of poor AI technology, it's great, but the foundation is a mess, right? And then they put their hands up, like, how can we sort this out? How can we clean this? So besides the initial cleanup, it's an ongoing data hygiene that's needed because you're going to produce more stuff, right? People are going to send more emails, more Teams chat, more documents. AI would generate more stuff. But the last thing you want is Chris going in there, show me all the files with the words, quote unquote, password, right? It's going to show
Yep.
you.
Totally.
You need some automated capabilities to make it easy for people to do the right thing. And by the way, that's how I define governance. Governance, making it easy for people to do the right thing. That's it.
Oh, I like that.
Oh, that's another thing that you need to have in your LinkedIn docs, because this is the easiest way that I have heard governments define, because it's concrete and it's exactly what it is. Because we try to put like big things around governments, like it's this. Yes, but
here's the thing, right? Now, people have this anaphylactic reaction to the word governance, right? When they hear governance, either, oh, it's too hard or it's too big or you want control. No. Governance, at the end of the day, we make it easy for people to do the right thing because people are not malicious. No, assume positive intent.
I
right?
was just about to say that. Yeah. You know, it's interesting. I'll tell you a funny story, right? So when I had my kids, and I remember going to get like baby strollers and stuff like that, nobody said to me, "Hey, Chris, you need baby governance." They were like, "Hey, you need to have these things to stop them like drinking the dishwashing liquid and
That's
getting
right.
into the whiskey and like falling down the stairs." And I was like, "Okay." So I put up the rails at the top of the stairs, and even though they were kind of there, they still didn't really work. Anyway, and locking up the cupboards and making sure they didn't do dumb things because I wanted to keep them safe, right?
Sure.
And like nobody said to me once, you need baby governance, or nobody says to you in a car when you buy a car and you have seatbelts, you need car governance. It's like, no, man, like we want to make sure that you're good, like you have a great experience in the vehicle with your kids. And I feel like the minute we do it in an IT, we always switch and be like, no, we have to apply governance. And actually, no, dude, I really want you to have a great experience with the data we have and the tools we have. So we're going to give you some guardrails to make sure that it's awesome.
And I think the issue with the word governance nowadays, it also in many ways equates to gatekeeping. It's like, oh, it just feels like gatekeeping. You're saying I have to have governance, so it feels like you're gatekeeping this for me, when actually I'm just trying to do my job and do it in a way that I find normal.
Yes.
So it's become a very loaded term because people have strong reactions to it,
That's
and
right.
oftentimes not positive ones.
You know, I have a theory on this.
What's the
I
theory?
so I started as a developer. I ran an IT company, and I realized, and it dawned on me about 10, 15 years ago. I hate to say this, I'm guilty of it. We IT people just want to sound smart. It's
Yeah.
like we throw around these words, or AI, MCP, run DMC.
Run DMC.
But you're right. At the end of the day, is while we serve, we have to think about our customers, the business, the end users, the decision makers. And I love your analogy, Chris. It's, yeah, there's no baby governance, there's no car governance.
No.
An example I use all the time is when I took my son bowling the first time.
Yes.
You know, we watch YouTube videos and all that. He's excited. I told the bowling alley, he was like 5, put the guardrails up.
Mm, mm.
And not only because I want it to be safe for the other person, the other lane, so he won't, but I want him to be successful.
Yeah.
I want him to hit the pin, right? So to your point, Joanna, is people think of as a negative, oh, control, bad experience. No. I want you to be successful. I want you so that your HR, your document with people's salaries don't show up elsewhere, right?
Yeah.
I want you so that whatever agent you build, the decisions they make, there's a place where if it's not sure, it's going to ask you, human in the loop, title of your podcast, right? So I think it's far more important now for technologists to really align strategies to stories. That's our job.
Yes.
We spend a lot of time with customers and in the industry trying to convince them about AI, but what we miss is we don't talk about what's meaningful to them. Like another example, the other day I was talking to a customer about zero trust, right? Again, big word, zero trust.
Security.
So I started my conversations like, hey, because this person loves cars. I said, do you remember what your first car was? He's like, oh, yeah. How old were you? I was 16, saving up money and bought that used Chevy S10 for $5,000. And as soon as I got the key, right, it was an amazing feeling. I go, okay, so let's say that next day, let's say we're friends, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's like, hey, Chris, can you give me the key to your car and I'm going to drive it? He's like, no way, right? I know you, Dux, but we're both 16 and we both just got our driver's license. I'm not sure I'm going to trust you with that. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So then that conversation goes into zero trust, right? Because it's so visceral. You felt that. You talk about children, you feel that. You talk about food, and it's okay. Right? So that's why I think us as technologies, going back to our conversation, when we think about governance and AI, we just have to bring it back to what's relevant to people.
Human. Go back to what's human. And we are very guilty of this in the tech sphere of going like, we get excited about tech. So it's
Yeah.
like, oh, this shiny thing and it does this and it goes productivity this and that. And I'm like, okay, let's strip it down. What does it mean to the person? And similar analogy, we're having a conversation with an accessibility department at an organization. And part of it was like, well, this, M365 Copilot is going to save you this many hours. And you can see people going like, yeah, that's kind of cool. Doesn't really say anything. And the moment that we brought it back to the humans of like, hey, I have dyslexia. What this does for me is like, I can actually read research papers for the first time in my career.
Yeah.
This is my blind colleague. Let me show you how she uses it in order to make sense of documents that are not accessible. Bring it back to the very granular example and human, because that's why we choose to use things.
That's right. And those are important, don't get me wrong, but I think what we miss is we just start with the big stuff. Oh, Gartner said this, or according to this new, I mean, look, Gartner's great, but if I don't connect with you right away as a human, forget everything else.
Yeah,
Agreed.
I totally agree. I think that like things that bring us meaning and joy are always things that we're going to identify with first. Like for me, it's food. No, but legit, I think it's important. And actually, in the tech world, I was thinking this morning. I'm like, I was on calls, and I'm like, all I could think about on these calls was I really want to try and build this agent. I really want to try and build this thing, and it's purely because I'm so curious about it. Like I'm interested in like what's going to happen, and it's purely because there's an element of the unknown. I like to run towards the fire and make and test things out. And I think like there's this human element to it where I want to understand more, and I'm curious, right? And I think a lot of us are like that. And when I think about the kind of governance piece, and it's not eliminating curiosity, it's kind of like invoking it and trying to say, hey, like we understand you're curious. Here's the place to be curious.
Mm.
You know,
Yep.
yeah, it's very interesting, man. Like I've never in my life in this era, I've been doing tech since 2002, right? Like when I finished school, so it's a long time, right? And I remember being extremely curious about technology when I first started. Like I wrote my first application; it was a timesheet management solution in Delphi 5, and like I was curious, and I feel like I've gotten that curiosity back again.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, it's really cool.
Like I was sharing, I'm on a roll now because I've been getting deep into OpenClaw. I'm
Yeah,
gonna build
yeah,
my own box.
it's so cool.
It doesn't have to be a physical box. I can go buy an old phone, an Android phone, and make it my OpenClaw server, right? So
Yeah,
that's cool stuff. You get to tinker. But going back to your point, Joanna, especially in the age of agents, right? It's it's far more important now to really have those guardrails.
yeah,
Because if we, for example, were concerned about back in the day of SharePoint sprawl, too many SharePoint sites, or team sprawl, too many teams out there, then you have to be really concerned with agent sprawl.
yes,
Unknown agents, you don't know who owns it, the data source it access, not just from a risk perspective, but also cost, right? Because a lot of these agents are charged per transaction.
Mm-hmm.
And I think, we always treat like, today at least, I see customers treat agents like, oh, these are small experiments, right? Let's, but he'd be right. It's so crazy. We go into customers because we have a technology called Agent Pulse, which we launched back.
yeah. This you got to explain.
Essentially, what Agent Pulse does, it monitors, tracks, and automates policy enforcement for agents. Microsoft, Google, other cloud providers soon. So it gives you visibility not only across your entire cloud investment, what agents you have, who created it, who owns it, how many times it's been used or not, the data it access it. And then based on that, not only do you see it, then you start putting in policies. Okay,
Amazing.
HR people or only HR people can create agents that accesses, employee records, whatever, right? Or if agent hasn't been used for 3 months, go notify the owner, because do you still want it or not? We're going to kill it, right?
Yeah,
We're going to put a cap. This agent can only run so many times because we can't spend over $100, right? So things like that. There's a lot of layers to it. Certainly, organizations are excited, rightfully so. But at the same time, everybody starts building their own little agents. It can add up.
It will add up, and here's the reality of it. And part of it is good, right? People get curious. So I have access to, let's say, M365. I live in the Microsoft ecosystem. Examples are going to be Microsoft. Sorry for that. But you have M365 Copilot Lite, and then anybody can, using natural language, create an agent. And that's great towards a certain extent. But amplify that, I suddenly create 1 million agents. I forget about them. They're there forever. there might be pointing at data, to your point, that is obsolete or is no longer relevant. There needs to be mechanisms to be aware at all times, like, what agents is my organization using? Where are they? Are they actually used? What models are they pointing
Yeah.
to? Are there security risk with older models that are now like defunct and we don't want to touch anymore? So I absolutely love this. After the podcast, I'm going to go and research what you folks are doing there because it's fantastic. And we touched upon risk a little bit. And obviously, you shared about how you're thinking in terms of the opportunity to monitor what agents an organization has, what type of elements are related to that. Are there big things you're observing from a risk perspective that companies are missing today, especially with agents?
Yeah, I think the big risks again, right, are things around visibility.
Hmm.
Companies are always surprised when we work with them and they start using our technology of how many agents are out there, right? Because let's just talk about the Microsoft ecosystem. There's like 10,001 ways to create these things. From
Yes.
the free version with Agent Builder, you don't need 365 Copilot license. You could do Copilot Studio. Certainly, you could do Foundry. You could use GitHub, right? So there's a lot of different ways. And again, like you said, people are curious. They want to learn. But at the same time, organization just doesn't know what's there. So visibility, that's a risk. The other risk is ownership,
Yeah.
because I'm guilty of it. I build agents, and then I leave it alone. And what if for some reason I move on, I leave the company? Like, ownership, we don't know what's out there, right? Who owns it? Why was it created? And the life cycle control. Just like, again, this is nothing new. Information lifecycle, records retention, there should be some lifecycle control. Because agents are powerful, certainly, but visibility of it, ownership, lifecycle control are certainly non-negotiable risk that we have to really take care of.
Yeah, yeah. I think I totally agree with you. I think on the life cycle piece, okay, this is quite a scary thought, right? Do you guys remember, do you both remember sort of back in the day when we were building websites, we were writing websites in like free text editors,
Yeah.
then posting those up to IIS, and like you had a div tag wrong, thing looked terrible, and then you had to rewrite it. So it was always like trial and error. I feel like we're there again. Let me explain why. Okay, so you build an agent, right? And in the life cycle of the agent, one of the first steps is to create value, and then you move around the chain, and you're adding instructions, and you're red teaming, and things like that. We have no real way to vet how those instructions will impact the agents that are subsequently linked to the primary. So the reason I say we're in the old school IIS era and the div tag era is because we are now back to programming in free text, literally, without understanding the implication this will have on other agents.
The difference, though, Chris,
Yeah.
is back in the day, at the very least, most organizations still have the rigor of having dev, test, and prod. So there's a proper release management.
Yep.
Today, no such thing.
There's no such thing, yeah.
Everything's prod.
This is where I'm getting freaked out, right? Because AI ops, so in the life cycle, the AI ops bit, and I get very passionate about this, so I apologize for what's about to happen. In the AI ops bit, it is excessively difficult, which is why people don't productionize things, because they don't understand how to manage AI operations. So it's not like releasing a Power App into production. You know, it's so different, and we don't have a compiler that tells us whether our instructions are going to impact other layers of the agentic mesh. So what happens is that we trial and test. It's like releasing an intern into your business, saying, off you go, here is access to all of the data, and just go and tell people what you know.
And make decisions.
And then choose, have action. Like you could have guys putting salt in the sugar pot for the coffee, right? And that's sort of what's going on now, is that people are afraid of what's going to happen, which is why the governance piece and the guardrails piece is so critical. And I'm telling you, man, challenge to AvePoint. Okay, challenge to AvePoint publicly. Help us figure out how to manage this AI ops thing. If you can do that, if you guys can do that, you'll be heroes, because I haven't seen anyone do it yet. And if anyone's going to do it, it's going to be you all.
You talk about sending that intern out, making big decisions for the company. I just realized too, the difference with back then and now, you can't roll it back, because once that decision's made, it's done.
Yep.
When that bell has rung, it's done. It's done. And one thing I would add, and I think it's critical, and people need to understand that, especially with agents and autonomous agents. So the moment we're talking true autonomy, and you have your agents and you have your multi-agent orchestration and whatnot, telemetry, observability, monitoring, and the kill switch. Because if something goes wrong, you need to, at least with certain degree of confidence, say, I think it's that agent, and I think it's that agent, and I need to shut it down. And here's the mechanism to do so, as opposed to like, that agent is Ioana's, and like we have no idea how she created it. She's off for a week on vacation, and it's creating like chaos in terms of our whole organization because it's disclosing, I don't know, everybody's salary.
Right.
So I'm really excited about what you've done there, because I think it's critical in order to be able to manage risk and manage risk holistically with agents. You have to have those things in place.
And that's why, like, for a lot of regulated industries, this is very, very critical. On one hand, sometimes we give regulated industries like government, financial services, healthcare a hard time because they're laggards. But in this situation, not quite, right? Because there's really big risk and governance consideration they have to look into.
I think that's the example I give people is you go for a mortgage, right? And you're applying for a mortgage. And, in a perfect world, there would be some sort of fair distribution of like, this is your priority to get this mortgage and you're going to get this mortgage and whatever not. Now, AI, let's say that the whole decision making is based on AI, and that AI system has been built with biases and things like that, and it suddenly decides like, Ioana speaks with an accent. Actually, she is from a different country. She doesn't have a citizenship here. Maybe she's high risk because of those things. How do you balance that in terms of risk and safety? And this is where financial, institution and other industries that are highly regulated, that's not a bad thing. You actually want to make sure that they are highly regulated. There is traceability of how decisions are being made. What is the impact on the human? Medical sector, right? Also highly regulated. I don't want my medical records to be public knowledge. Like, I would like to keep those private. I would like my data to be private. So in this case, I feel like they have it right. It should be highly regulated. Because you're working deeply with them, what do you feel are one or more governance issues that teams kind of raise that most people overlook, especially as they have that expertise?
Yeah, these days, we see it around the world. I have the privilege of working with regular industries across Americas, EMEA, APAC. And what's clear is being compliant is not enough anymore.
No.
Like checking the box, yeah, I'm GDPR compliant, I'm EU AI Act compliant. It's not enough. You have to prove compliance on demand, end to end, right? And the thing that's overlooked today is defensibility. Meaning, do you have any audit-ready proof of what happened to the information over time? You talk about healthcare, your private information. Do you have proof? Can you defend that? Who had access? What changed? What was retained and what was disposed? So that's one. And with AI agents, the expectation doesn't go away. It just intensifies because the speed of automation increases the consequences of mistakes, right?
Wow, that is gold dust, man.
What?
The speed of automation increases the frequency of mistakes.
What did I say? The speed of automation increases the consequences of mistakes.
Consequences. Yeah. That is amazing.
I read it this morning. I was reading a Gartner report. Now, speaking of Gartner, they're good reports, by the way. I was reading an agentic AI report they just came out with, and it's scary because the threat landscape is moving so fast. Gartner said that AI agents can reduce the time to exploit account exposures by 50%. Right? It makes exploitation faster by 2027, which makes oversight and control even more urgent. Because the bad guys, you think we're using AI? They're using AI.
I agree. Yes, dude. This is the thing. Like, I was having a conversation yesterday with somebody, and it was interesting because I've seen the dark side of AI, which is not great, but it's interesting. And one of the guys was saying, oh, the police forces in the UK are struggling to adopt AI. I'm like, I'm telling you, the criminals are not struggling to adopt AI at all.
And sometimes, right, like, I talk to customers. They're like, "Oh, we don't need AI. You need to test it." I go, "There's a lot of different reasons why you do. Number one, obviously competition. You want to grow and scale.
Yeah.
If you're not using it today, you're late. Your competitor is. Number two is talent, right? Like all of your colleagues and employees, they're using it, you like it or not. Shadow AI.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So might as well make sure they're using it safely. And third, again, threat actors.
Yeah.
They will
Yeah.
be using it.
Agreed. You said something that I wanted to go back to, and sorry because I'm jumping topics, but you have the world perspective as well because you do have clients all over the world. Are you observing any big differences across the world in terms of either attitude towards AI adoption or attitude towards AI in general?
So I'm going to name countries and businesses and regions. Number one, bar none, at least the customers and countries I get to spend time in is Singapore.
Mm, yeah,
Like they're way out there in a
yeah.
good way. Not only, I'm not only talking about the projects we're working on with some Singapore government agencies or large customers. They're thinking about AI in terms of how it's going to transform and shift organizations. It's like part of everybody's DNA. So put that aside. But what's really impressive, the whole country is equipping every single citizen with AI knowledge and learning from grade school kids to adult learners. The government has funds. If Chris, for example, he wants to learn AI, you don't even have to spend money. Government has allocated training and learning for AI for every Singaporean that you can avail of. So it's not even about companies, but the government is so forward thinking and forward looking that they want to equip the entire population with this skill and mindset of leveraging AI.
Smart.
Yeah.
Very smart.
And maybe
And
it's the nature of how the size of the country, but they're like the number one innovation uh, I've seen in bar none to compare to everybody else.
well done, Singapore. I'm excited to see what comes as a result of that. And I think I was having a conversation just the other day with um, a university in the US, and they were really saying that they're struggling to think of, and this is a huge university, struggling to think about what's the balance that they have between empowering their students with AI versus where does it become a hindrance in terms of are they using it so much that they're no longer learning? So I'm curious to see trends and things coming from Singapore and what they're doing around it because they might be a role model for the rest of the world.
One key difference over there. So I have my brother lives there and his family, and the big difference is they changed the pedagogy of learning. The
Hmm.
challenge with the rest of the world is like this is how we teach since 1940. We're still going to do it this way, and this whole AI is going to disrupt it. So maybe we don't use it. But what they've done is like, hey, we've got this AI technology. Maybe let's rethink how we learn. Let's rethink how we teach, right? Because we have this cool new capability now that we've never had before.
Yeah.
Um, the, the other place I've seen massive investments in shift is in the Middle East.
Mm.
Amazing amount of transformation and investment in AI. So I would say those are one and two.
And it's interesting because, and I almost go step back and go is like sometimes tradition is a hindrance for innovation. And in Europe, there's a lot of talk about, hey, Europe has a long tradition and history, but sometimes that can be a hindrance. And obviously, we're looking at other parts of the world that are much newer, let's say, in certain aspects, and the adoption is much higher as well. So, what are things we can learn from them in order to have similar, let's say, innovation cycles, adoption rates? Um, my mind is going squirrel and kind of tangent in terms of just the power of example.
That's actually a good observation juxtaposition, right? Like Singapore is relatively new,
Yeah.
while Middle East has been around for a long time, but they're a lot of their what I would say investment transformation is quite new
Yeah.
across different things. But you're right, it's this tradition. I do think there are traditions, certainly we don't get rid of, like Christmas markets in Europe. Don't
Yeah.
get rid of that. Love that. But there are things that we should evolve, right? And not get stuck on old mindset.
There was this awesome shirt I saw a guy wearing last night. It had a little robot with a spanner, like busting through a little like raceway line sort of thing. And I'm not gonna be able to pronounce this. It's Latin, so you're just gonna have to bear with me. It's Proficimus Proficimus Mor Eretenti,
What does that
which
mean?
means
Yeah.
yes, which means we make progress unhindered by custom. And I loved it because I thought it was so applicable to what we're doing now. Like, and Dux, you hit the nail on the head. I think like a lot of us can be rooted in this like whole old way of doing things. Like the example I'm going to give you is I'm studying at the University of Birkbeck in the UK. So I study planetary sciences like astrobiology, that type of thing. And we have open book exams. And what they do is they're going to check for the use of AI. And I said to them, you know what? Everyone's going to use it, right? Like every single person is going to use it. And I said, I don't think you guys should ban us from using it. Rather do this. Rather evidence you're working, much like we did in long division at school, where we had to not just come out with the answer, but show how we got there. And I think you should get them to evidence the prompts and say, like, this is how we got to the answer. This is what we did. These are the sources we used.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's something that, we have to be uninhibited by custom. We have to change the way we think and completely change the way we operate. And that, I think, is going to be the hardest part of this whole thing.
I do have the same parting question for all of our guests. And if you were to give our audience homework, what would that homework be?
So the homework I would give is going back to what we started with, is really considering, and this is not just for your organization, even for yourself, right? AI is great, but at the same time, do you trust the data? So I think that's the word of the year for me is data is a trust layer for AI.
Yeah.
It's a trust layer.
Yeah.
And if that layer does not exist, then AI doesn't matter. So think about your data. Do you trust it? Is it protected, well governed, and will it be resilient if bad things happen?
I'll add to that homework and say, go and check what AvePoint is doing, because you folks support organizations exactly with that. So it's oftentimes speaking with clients, they don't have an understanding of it, which is fine. But there's where, the golden magic and long, positive way history of what you've been doing for 25 years, you said?
Yeah, 25 years. This year will be our 25th year. Yeah.
It's amazing, man.
25 years is like learn from companies like AvePoint who know you've been there, you've seen it, you've done it, and you can help support others. So I'm adding to that homework. With that,
in that tradition, we're going to keep protecting data.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Keep what matters and is important, just like the Christmas markets, folks.
That's right.
With that, Chris, Dux, thank you. Always a pleasure. And folks, thank you for joining us. That's a wrap on today's voyage aboard Human in the Loop. See you next time.
Thank
Ciao,
you,
bye.
everyone.